absolute pleasure of having you here today and chatting to the youngsters and inspiring them. And yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you. So basically what Keith is saying, if you can't swim, he'll make a swimmer out of you. So he's just promoting there. Because like Keith said, when I grew up, I was into rugby and athletics and stuff. I didn't swim at all. I didn't even take a bath at night. So, water, anything deeper than waist height wasn't for me. And in 2014, I had a car accident. I just took my eyes off the road for a second. It was about this time of the day. And I had a car accident. I woke up next to the road, next to my car, and I couldn't get up. The rehabilitation journey took me months. I was 4 months in hospital, just trying to move again, just trying to regain my life, just trying to dress on my own, eat on my own, shower, all these kind of things, basic stuff. And it took me a few years or so to just get back into sport, get back into normal living again. And after I got into that, to give you some background, I've done many sports while I was in a wheelchair. I've always loved sport, so it was natural to always go back into sport. And today I do the Ironman in a wheelchair. That's what I specialize in. And people always ask me, so how did you decide on doing the Ironman? Or why swim from Robben Island to Bloberg? Why do this sport? And before I got paralyzed, being in a wheelchair was my biggest fear. It was the thing I was the most scared of in life. We all have something. It may be heights or snakes or whatever. Mine was being paralyzed. And the day that I got paralyzed, it was like this reality of my life is over, because it's now the worst thing that I feared in life has come true. The worst thing. So imagine, just think of the worst thing possible, and it actually comes true. And it took me years to regain my life, but when I finally got there, it felt like I overcame this mountain. This colossal giant in my life, I actually overcame. And that was just regaining my life in a wheelchair. I'm not walking again, but I've gotten my life back. Not the same life, a better life, a different life. And then I started actually to dream again, because now my worst fear I've actually overcome. And I think in life we always fear the things that possibly will never happen, and the fear of failure. We are scared to dream. We don't want to try something because what if you fail? What are people going to say? People are going to make fun of you. And that's the irony. The moment that you try and rise above everyone else, you just try and dream, you just try and live your life out, you get criticized for it, and they want to push you down to where society is. And when I overcame that fear of failure was completely gone. And it felt like I can do anything in life now. And I've always wanted to do an Ironman, but before my accident, I was actually too scared to do it. I was too scared of failing because I played good rugby and I was a very fit person, but I thought, but what if I fail at Ironman? Then this whole image, this whole ego that I have just comes tumbling down. And as I said, when I regained my life and I had my independence back, I thought, you know what, I'm going to do this because I know how fragile my life is. It can be taken away in a second. I had this amazing life and I almost lost it in a few seconds. So that's when I decided on doing the Ironman, because it's something so impossible to actually do, and I wanted to do it all my life. So then I set on the journey to do an Ironman in a wheelchair. And, learning to swim was a massive journey. It took me about a year just to figure out the buoyancy. What do I do with my legs? Do I tie them up? Stroke correction. And that's, endless hours spending in a pool, training. And you just don't feel the breakthrough is actually coming. And then one day you just look back, it's, 3, 4, 5, 6 months down the line, you actually realize how far you've actually come. So if you, feel that barrier, that resistance that you're facing, that, geez, but my swimming isn't improving, my training isn't improving, I'm putting in all this work, one day everything just clicks and it just works out. And you realize, wow, I've actually come such a far way and I've actually grown so much. And that was just the swimming. I had to get into hand cycling and wheelchair racing as well, which parasport is completely different to able-bodied sport. If you go running, you just put on your tackies and you go for a run. I have to get into a racing chair. It's uncomfortable at first. I don't know the technique. Same with hand cycling. It's difficult to get in and out. And it's difficult. It's extremely difficult. Your body isn't made to just function with your upper body, just function with your arms. And now you have to propel yourself the same speed on a bike as what able-bodied people do with their legs. But the amazing thing is how your body adapts to it. I'm a better athlete now than I was before my accident. And that's just because the mental shift I had to make to that this is what I have, and I'm going to make the best out of it. And the dream to do the Robben Island crossing, it just came to me one day. And as I said, I was scared of swimming. I was scared of the ocean in terms of open water swimming. I didn't know it at all. And that's exactly why I wanted to do it, because it's this big fear that I had of the open ocean. And I embarked on this journey, started training for it, worked with Keith, and training for a half Ironman swimming compared to Robben Island swimming is completely different. It's a 7.7 kilometer swim, or depending how the current is actually. I know some people have done it in 8Ks or 7.3 Ks. For us, or for me on that day, it was 7.7 Ks. And for a swimmer, that's not a massive distance. You can do that. But the ocean is something completely different, and that is the uncertainty of it. You don't know what's going to happen. There's massive swell, there's chop, there's currents, and you can't predict all these things. And that just brings me to the next topic of like uncertainty. I think we've all been through last year, this year, uncertainty. What do we do in times of uncertainty? So I want to share the testimony of Robben Island. So how that happened. In 2019, I was supposed to do it. I've been training the whole of 2019, or probably 6-7 months of 2019. We were training for it. And we just never got our day to do it. It kept on, being postponed because of weather and conditions. And then the water is too cold. They don't let me swim as an inexperienced swimmer and as a paraplegic in water colder than about 14 degrees. So I just never got my day. It got postponed probably 5 or 6 times. And it was so frustrating. And at one day, they told me the most difficult thing sometimes is to be patient. To be patient for your day. And I just want to tell you that your day will come, that you're putting in the work and your day will come, that breakthrough will come. But you have to keep on knocking on that door. You just have to keep on training, you have to keep on pushing. That's the nature of what we do. And my day didn't come in 2019. I couldn't understand why. I heard from God that this is what I'm supposed to do, and I put my faith in it. I applied my faith, I trained for it, and it just didn't happen. Lockdown came, 2020 came. I don't think I have to say anything about that. And we just couldn't do anything for the whole of 2020. And I was sitting with this burden in my heart that I need to do this. It just didn't leave me, and I had to do this. Otherwise, I just wouldn't have rest. And then I told Keith, look, I'm gonna do this. Let's try again. And I just started training. This was before we knew, obviously, that the beaches were closed or anything. And this was just when the pools opened again after lockdown. And then I got back in the pool. I started training again. Now for me, not swimming for 3-4 months, it was almost like starting from scratch again. Swimming, 1 mile in the swimming pool was difficult for me. I remember the first week I really asked myself, can I really do this? I've lost all my fitness, and that was quite demotivating. So I had to push through those first few weeks of preparation, and then I started, getting fit again, and it started coming back. And then I prayed about a date, and the Lord gave me the 10th of December, and I wrote it down on a piece of paper. I put it up against my closet. Every single day I used to look at the 10th of December, and I started imagining the 10th of December that I'm going to swim. And my story I need to take you a little bit back. I had a normal job, and then I got called to do what I do right now, and I probably chose the worst moment in history to follow my dreams, because then COVID hit, and everyone got retrenched, and there's this whole financial crisis going on. And I think, they always say there's no good time to start following your dreams and make the shift. I disagree with that. The best time is yesterday. And, as soon as you can, just make the shift, make the move. do it. If it's on your heart, if God tells you to do something, just jump, just do it. And as I was training and the date came up, 10th of December, I started reading the book of Joshua. Now, the book of Joshua is where the children of Israel have been wandering the desert for 40 years now, and they're ready to cross the Jordan River into the Promised Land. And as I was reading, they crossed the river on the 10th day of the first month. And then it made sense to me why I must swim on the 10th of December. And we ended up swimming on the 11th of December. But the 10th of December was actually a better day. And I should have taken the opportunity. I didn't, and I swam on the 11th of December because I didn't actually listen to my discernment at that stage. Now here's the thing. If God is telling you to do something, you can do it. Just act upon it. If He tells you something, follow through with it. So I should have swam on the 10th of December. Came the 11th. Keith doesn't even know about this, but the water temperature, few hours before we started swimming, it was about, I think, 12.9. I didn't know that. But I just kept on praying for the right conditions and the water to be warm enough. Now, if you know anything about open water swimming and water conditions, water temperature specifically, it doesn't change in an hour. When I got in the water, the temperature was 14 degrees. And Derek told us, it's okay, we can swim, let's do this. I only found this out afterwards, that the water temperature actually wasn't ideal. And he told the team, because I had a whole team, what you just saw was a trailer of a documentary that we filmed. He actually told them, look, the water temperature isn't ideal, but you can take a chance. And they decided not to tell me this. I only found it out afterwards that the water temperature wasn't ideal. I just kept on telling them, I'm going to swim. I'm going to do it. I heard from God. I'm going to do this. The water's going to be fine. And I applied my faith for that. When we started swimming, everything went fine. There were no currents. The water was fairly calm. And then probably about 1.5 Ks, 2 Ks in, I remember the first feed, I started realizing, okay, this is a lot harder than what I thought it would be. There's a lot of chop. There's a massive swell. Typical open water triathlete swimmer. I just breathe through the one side. And I kept on getting water. I kept on getting hit in the face with a chop. And I just, drank so much salt water. I remember talking to Keith, and he's just like, just focus on me. Just look at me. We're going to get through this. Just keep on pushing. Now, the thing about being in that ocean, you feel so small. In a pool, it's easy. You can just touch the side or just get out of the pool. But in this big, vast ocean, I remember feeling so small. Looking at this distance, you can barely see the land, and I can't see behind me anything. It was so overcast, I couldn't even see Table Mountain or anything. And I just felt so small and insignificant in this massive body of water. And it makes me think of, my accident and how I got through that. You come to a point where you realize there's no other way but forward. Getting on the boat isn't an option. Giving up at that moment isn't an option. And it's the same with, how I felt when I was in rehab. There was no other option but to get through this. No one can make it better for me. They can help me. They can support me. They can love me. But they can't take it away from me. They can't get me through this. I have to make that decision. So at some point in your life, you're going to be confronted with situation, with circumstances. You're going to have to man up and get through it yourself. No one can help you through that. And, the times that we are going in right now, 2020, 2021, you're going to be confronted with that, where you're going to have to make the choice. Am I just going to stop doing what I'm doing and just, quit? Or am I actually just going to push through? And I want to encourage you, it just comes back to that. Just keep on knocking on that door. Just keep on pushing, because the breakthrough sometimes is a lot closer than what you think it is. Fast forward a bit, while we were swimming, I remember I tried to tell Keith he must give me more feed, because he kept on just giving me this little sips of rooibos tea and honey, and I got so frustrated. I wanted to shout at him and just tell him, just give me more, because I'm so hungry and I'm so thirsty. I told him afterwards, I was like, dude, you have to give me more. Next time we do this, you have to feed me more. And I remember I packed bananas and jelly babies and all that kind of stuff. I didn't even touch it because the circumstances that played a role, there wasn't even a chance to feed. The moment I stopped swimming, the current would push me 50 meters off course. When we got closer to the side, probably about the last kilometer from the side, I had to swim perpendicular or parallel to the shoreline, just because to end up actually where we were planning to end up. And there came a point, if you know Bloberg, there's rock formations. Came a point where they actually told me, look, you're going to have to press hard now for 5 minutes. You're really going to have to push as hard as you can. And this is after swimming 7Ks in a rough ocean, and hungry, of course. Thank you, Keith. And they tell you, look, you're going to have to swim the hardest that you've swam now after you've done 3 hours for 5 minutes. I need your max effort for 5 minutes to get past the rocks. Otherwise, we're going to have to turn around. We're going to have to go the other way around. And it makes me think, sometimes you're tired in life. You're really tired and you're beaten down. But there's going to come a time that you're really going to have to sprint that finish and just push through that time. And that was the most difficult thing about the whole swim, was that 5 minutes of uncertainty and pushing through. I had no idea actually what was going on. I saw boats here next to me. They are talking to one another, and Keith is just clapping hands and shouting and just saying 5 minutes, 5 minutes. I was like, I have no idea what you're saying, but I'm going to go. I'm trusting you, and I'm going to go. So sometimes you just have to trust the people that are in authority above you and just go. You're just going to have to push through whatever you are facing. You're just going to have to gooi. Because that's basically all that's the options that you have. After that swim, I remember sitting in the clubhouse and it all just coming together. And I actually sat there for just 10, 15 minutes. And I had to ask them, guys, did this really just happen? Because all this work, everything that I put in, all the work, the months, to me, it felt like 2 years of accumulation just all coming together at this one specific point. And it was so surreal. I just sat there because I had this vision of this day and I imagined it being done and sitting there. And finally I was there and I sat on the floor and I was just asking Keith, did we really just do this? I'm not dreaming. I'm not like lucid or anything because of the cold water. Did we finish? Did I actually make this? And the last point that I want to talk about is vision. You must have a dream. You must have a vision to something that you are working towards. Because what vision does, it transcends you from where you are now, looking over your circumstances, over the uncertainty, and just focusing on that end goal. It just takes you over that. So it doesn't matter what the circumstances are. It doesn't matter what people tell you. It doesn't matter if the doctor tells me I'm not going to walk again. I'm not going to be able to have a normal life again. I'm not going to be able to do sport again. It doesn't matter because I just keep my focus on the end goal, on the vision right at the end. And to me, that was something that God told me personally, that I prayed about, that I held on to, and that was the only thing that I held on to, was that end goal. So you're going to have to find something, especially in these times of uncertainty. Write your goals down. Write something down that you can hang on to. Pray about it. Get that one thing. Put it on your forehead if you have to. I used to make screensavers a lot, and I used to write my big goal for the year. I used to write it on a screensaver. Every single day, I see this. I put it on my closet. Every single day, I see this. Yes, it becomes numbing after a while, and then you just take it off, write it in a new color, and it's fresh again. So you can just remember this. But you need vision. You need goals. Because otherwise, what are you working for? What are you working towards? So just after my accident, I had small goals. It was, silly stuff like just getting dressed under 10 minutes because it took me 15, 20 minutes just to get dressed. So I had these small micro goals working up towards a bigger goal. And you're going to have to find your rhythm. You're going to have to find what works for you. But it's very important just to work towards something in life. So that's also where faith comes in. If you talk about vision, it goes hand in hand with faith. So Hebrews 11 verse 1 tells us that faith is the substance, what it's made of, the things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. So in the natural, we can't see what's coming tomorrow. We can't see what's coming the end of the year. No one expected this lockdown situation or this COVID or anything. But you're going to have faith that it will get better, that we are going to get through this. And I promise you that all things work together for those who love God and live righteously according to His will. And that is what I hang on to, and that's what I live according to, is that the hope and glory of Jesus, because that's what His word says, and I just believe that all things will work together for my good. And if I look back over 6 years ago I was in a car accident. 6 years ago, I knew that everything would work out well. I knew everything would work out okay, but it worked out better than I expected. And that's just because I had that faith. I had that something to hold on to. So I just want to encourage you with those few things. Always keep on pushing, because your breakthrough will come, and hang on to those things. Hang on to your faith, hang on to your goals and dreams, and you will get there. It will work out for your good. And I just also want to end off with a word that I want to share with Keith for Lane Leader as a school, and what I see for Lane Leader. I see that Lane Leader is like going to become a household name among, the schools in Stellenbosch, but also the parents in Stellenbosch. It's a household name. I see you guys being so busy that it's going to be a waiting list to get into your school. I just see full lanes of people swimming. And that's what I just want to speak over you. Despite the lockdown and COVID and all these things, I really believe Lane Leader is the first of its kind, and it's going to be blessed. The school is blessed, and people come to you as a mentor, as a coach, but I see you working with children, also being a mentor to them. Not just a coach, a friend and a mentor. And that is what attracts people to the school as well, is your personality. It's what radiates out from you. And then also I see a few big names in the sport joining Lane Leader for seasons or camps or whatever it may be. People from all over the world. It's more senior athletes coming to train with you guys. And as I said, they're attracted not just to your coaching, but to who you guys are as a group, as a team, as Lane Leader. So I just want to bless you with that, and I speak that over you. So thank you for the opportunity for sharing today's story with you. And I hope you guys are blessed and encouraged. So enjoy the rest of your camp.